Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sapna Dudwal. I'm working as a professor in the Department of Management at St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. This is lecture 18 of Business Law of Unit 3. This is a subject which is taught in BBA 4th semester in the MDU curriculum of BBA. The topics I'm going to cover in this lecture are transfer of property in goods, the meaning of transfer of property, rules of transfer of property, transfer of title by non-owners and its exceptions to, then performance of contract of sale, delivery, meaning and modes of delivery, then unpaid seller, meaning of this word, and his right or rights of unpaid seller. I'm starting with first topic, that is transfer of property in goods. Now first I would like to tell you about the meaning of transfer of property in goods. So transfer of property means transfer of ownership, not the physical possession of the goods. Possession refers to the custody over the goods. So property in goods may pass from seller to buyer, but the goods may be in possession of the seller. So it is very clear, passing of property means, or transfer of property means passing of property from seller to buyer. Now rules of transfer of property in goods. The rules regarding transfer of property are discussed under the following three heads. First is transfer of property in specific or ascertained goods. I have already explained this in my earlier lecture. Specific goods means goods identified and agreed upon at the time when a contract of sale is made. So the rules relating to transfer of property on specific goods are as follows. The first is general rule. So according to this rule, or according to section 19 of the Sale of Goods Act 1930, where there is a contract for sale of specific or ascertained goods, the property in goods is transferred to the buyer at such times as the party intend it to be transferred. So it depends on the intention of the buyer. That if buyer want immediate transfer, then a seller can immediately transfer the property. So it depends on the intention of the party. Now the second is passing of property at the time of contract. In an unconditional contract of sale of specific goods in a deliverable state, the property in the goods passes to the buyer when the contract entered into. When the contract is entered, when the buyer and seller they enter into an contract. Now the third is goods not in deliverable stage. So where there is a contract for sale of specific goods and the seller is bound to do something to the goods for the purpose of putting them in deliverable state. The property does not pass until such thing is done and the buyer has noticed thereof. So for example, a boat builder contract to sell to B for a stated price a boat which is lying in A's yard. The boat to be painted and fitted for playing in the turbulent river, and the price is to be paid on the delivery. So under the contract, the property in the boat and the risk do not pass to B until the boat has been painted and fitted and notice thereof is given to B. Then the fourth one, when the price of the goods is to be ascertained by weighing, etc. So where there is a contract for sale of specific goods in the deliverable state, the seller is bound to weigh, measure, test or do some act or things which with reference to them for ascertaining the price of the goods. The property doesn't pass to the buyer till such act is done and the buyer has noticed that seller has done these things, or certain seller has ascertained price by weighing or by weighing or by using other measures. Now the second case is transfer of property in unascertained and future goods. Unascertained goods are which have not been identified and agreed upon at the time when contract of sale is made. And future goods, it means goods to be manufactured or produced or acquired by seller after making the contract of sale. So, for when contract is for unascertained goods, no property is transferred to the buyer unless and until the goods are ascertained. So, there is a contract of sale for future goods by description, and with the consent of the buyer, with the assent or consent of the buyer, the property and good passes to the buyer. Such assent may be given expressly or impliedly, and either before or after the appropriation. For example, A having a quantity of sugar in bulk more than sufficient to fill 20 bags. Contract to sell to B 20 bags of it. After the contract, A fills 20 bags with sugar, gives notice to B that the bags are ready and require him to take them away. B says he will take them as soon as he can. By this appropriation by A and assent by B, the property in the sugar passes to B. Now the third case, which is related to unascertained goods, is goods sent on approval or on sale or on return basis. So goods sent on approval or on sale or on return basis means those goods in respect of which the buyer has an option either to return or retain the goods. So when the goods are delivered to the buyer on approval or on sale to return or on similar terms, the property passes to buyer when he signifies his approval or acceptance to the seller. Example, A is a jeweler. A jeweler delivered some jewelry items to the customer on approval basis with the condition that the goods shall remain the property of the seller until paid for by the buyer. Without making payment, the buyer pledges them to a person. The pledge was held as invalid since the buyer never became owner of the goods, having failed to comply with the condition laid down for him. So it is very clear from this. Now the next topic is transfer of title by known owners. Non-owners. Section 27 of the Sale of Goods Act 1930 lays down a general rule as to the transfer of title, that is that it is only the owner of the goods who can transfer the good title. So this is the section 27 of Sale of Goods 1930 says that only a owner of the goods can transfer a good title to the buyer. But there are few exceptions to this rule also. This is a general rule, but there are few exceptions to this general rule also. These are, the first one is sale by mercantile agent. If a mercantile agent who is in possession of either the goods or document of the title to the goods with the consent of the owner can sell the goods in ordinary course of business. So this contract will be called as valid contract. So here mercantile agent is not the owner of the good, he is the non-owner, but when he is entering into a contract with the buyer, then he is passing a good title to the buyer. Now second case is sale by joint owners. So according to section 28 of the Sale of Goods Act 1930, where one of the several joint owners of the goods has the possession of goods, he can transfer the title of goods with the consent of other joint owners. So this is again exception. Then third one is sale by a person in possession under voidable contract. So according to section 29 of the Sale of Goods Act 1930, If a person who has obtained possession of goods under a voidable contract can convey or transfer a good title provided the sale has been taken place before the voidable contract is avoided. Or where the contract has become voidable before the sale has taken place before the contract has become voidable. The next is sale by a seller in possession of the goods even after sale. So according to section 31 of the Sale of Goods Act 1930, where a person having a sold goods continues in possession thereof, document of title of goods will pass a good title to the transferee if such purchase it without the notice of the previous sale. So buyer gets the good title in this case. Then sale by a buyer in possession of goods, where a person having bought or agreed to buy goods and he has obtained the possession of the goods, if he with the consent of the seller sells the goods, then he passes the good title to the buyer of the goods, and this contract will be called as a valid contract of sale. Then next one is sale by unpaid seller. An unpaid seller of goods who has exercised his right of lien or stoppage in the transit can resell the goods and transfer a valid or good title to another buyer. So these are the cases which are exception to the general rule that only a owner of the goods can pass a good title to the buyer. Now the next topic is performance of contract of sale. So according to section 31 of Sale of Goods Act 1930, it is the duty of the seller to deliver the goods to buyer and the buyer to accept and pay for them. Now the word meaning of delivery. Delivery means voluntary transfer of possession of goods from one person to another. So there are different modes of delivery. These modes are, first one is actual delivery. So where the goods are handed over by the seller to the buyer or his duly authorized agent. This is called as actual delivery. The delivery is said to be as actual delivery. For example, X sells to Y 100 bags of wheat lying in the Z's warehouses. X orders to Z to deliver the wheat to Y. Z delivers to Y. In this case, there is an actual delivery of goods. Now the second mode is symbolic delivery. A delivery is said to be symbolic where some symbol of the real possession of or control over the good is handed over to the buyer. An example is X sells to Y 100 bags of wheat lying in the Z's warehouse and hands over the key of Z's warehouse to Y. In this case, this is symbolic delivery of goods. Here goods are not delivered, but the key of the warehouse is delivered to the buyer. Now the third one is constructive delivery. Delivery is said to be constructive where a person who is in possession of goods acknowledges holding the goods on the behalf of buyer. Example is again, A sells to B 10 bags of wheat lying in the C's godown. A gives an order to C asking him to transfer the goods to B. C assent to such order and transfer the goods in his books to B. This is in constructive delivery. Now the next topic is unpaid seller. First, I would like to tell you about the meaning of unpaid and paid. By section 45 of the Act, the seller of the good is deemed to be unpaid seller in the following cases, namely when the whole price has not been paid or tendered to the seller. Second is when a bill of exchange or other negotiable instrument has been received as a conditional payment and the condition has not been fulfilled by a reason of dishonor of that instrument. So very clear from this what is the meaning of unpaid seller. Now characteristics of unpaid seller. He must sell goods on cash terms and not on credit, and he must be unpaid. The second is he must be either wholly or partly unpaid. Then third is he must not refuse to accept the payment when tendered to him. The next topic is rights of unpaid seller. The first right is rights of unpaid seller against the goods. So actually rights of unpaid seller can be classified into two types: rights against goods and right against buyers. Personally, I'm starting with first rights against goods. The first one is right of lien. So lien is the right to retain possession of the goods and refuse to deliver them to buyer until the price due in respect of these goods is paid. So this is the right of the unpaid seller. He can retain goods until the price of those goods is not paid by the buyer to him. Second is right of stoppage in transit. So the unpaid seller has a right of stopping the goods in transit after he has parted with their possession to a carrier. So he has the right of stoppage. Right of stoppage means the right to stop further transit of the goods to buyer. Now third right is right of resale. The Act has granted the right of resale also to the unpaid seller. If the buyer continuously default in making payment of the goods he has purchased, then the seller has got right to resale these goods to the another buyer. Now the second right of the unpaid seller, that is against the buyer personally. The first is suit for price. Where the property in goods has passed to the buyer, the seller may sue the buyer for the price of the goods. Then damages for non-acceptance. Where the buyer wrongfully neglects or refuses to accept or pay for the goods, then the seller may sue the buyer for damages for non-acceptance of goods purchased by him. Then third is repudiation of contract before due date. Where the buyer repudiate the contract before the date of delivery, the seller may either treat the contract as subsisting and wait till the date of delivery, or may treat the contract as rescinded or cancelled and sue for damages for the breach. Now fourth one is suit for interest. Where there is a specific agreement between the seller and the buyer, the unpaid seller can sue the buyer for interest on the price from the date on which the payment becomes due. So these are the rights of unpaid seller against buyer. The first was he can sue for the price. The second one is he can sue for the damages for the non-acceptance of the goods. Then third one is he can repudiate contract. He can rescind and ask for the damages. Then he can sue the buyer for the interest or the price also. Now these are the questions which are related to the above topics. If any query is there, please do contact me. If there any writing mistake is there, please ignore the writing mistake. Thank you so much.